Hurricane Erin is churning towards the East Coast, creating dangerous conditions at the shore. The warning for swimmers as many people try to squeeze in that last little bit of beach season.
Hey, the weight of this new school year, heavy enough for kids. Their backpack shouldn't be just as heavy. I spoke to a doctor to learn the hidden dangers that hefty bags can have on your kids' health.
And a warning for your kid's favorite toy. Experts say fake Labubus can be extremely dangerous. Why people are being urged to get the real thing. Those stories and more on today's edition of The Lineup for August 19th, 2025.
Hey everyone, I'm NBC 10's Keith Jones.
And I'm NBC 10's Sheila Watko. I got distracted because I hate that it's August 19th.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I don't like that at all.
Summer's like flying by.
It's really flying by. Oh my gosh. Well, let's get you up to speed with what you need to know today. We start with some breaking news in Northeast Philadelphia. One person is under arrest this morning after an overnight shooting outside of a Walmart. It happened on Byberry Road just before 3 this morning. No one was hurt. Detectives recovered a gun and bullets behind the store. Happening now, Hurricane Erin is churning up the waters off the East Coast, and it's going to get worse as the week goes on, leading to rip current warnings.
Yeah, NBC 10's Katy Zachry is in Wildwood, where officials are being proactive.
In Wildwood, city officials and beach patrol officials issued a warning Monday night that will go into effect Tuesday morning, and for the rest of the week. It affects anyone coming to the beach. The beach is open, but the water is off limits. Do not swim this week. Do not go in the water. That's the warning from the city of Wildwood and Wildwood Beach Patrol. Hurricane Erin is expected to fuel large waves and dangerous conditions, prompting rip currents and high surf. This new warning this week follows 2 drownings last week on unguarded Jersey Shore beaches, including a man from Trenton who police say died after getting caught in a rip current in Seaside Heights. In Ocean City, officials have not issued as strict a warning as in Wildwood, but have restrictions in place for people and families, many spending their final week of summer at the shore.
Never swim or go on a beach without a lifeguard, ever. But when you come down this week, definitely talk to the lifeguards on the stand, ask them what type of restrictions there are. That includes depth that they're allowed out, flotation devices they're allowed to be used.
And south of us in Dewey Beach, Delaware, officials spent Monday keeping people out of the water there, saying the conditions there were too rough for people to swim safely. Here in Wildwood, officials say that this strict and stern warning all week long for no ocean swimming is not just to help beachgoers, but also to help first responders who would be pulled into the surf to help with the rescues. Reporting from Wildwood, Katy Zachry, NBC 10 News.
Katy, thanks. Developing in Camden County, Riverline services are back up and running again after a car was struck by a train. It happened at the Walter Rand Transportation Center after 6 a.m. No word yet on any injuries.
Crews are filling in a sinkhole in Hainesport, Burlington County. The sinkhole formed overnight Monday, closing the westbound right lane on Route 38 for about a quarter mile. The New Jersey DOT says relentless rain weakened the ground, collapsed a drainage pipe, and created a hole in the road. We'll let you know when the crews finish and reopen that lane. The left lane has been able to get by. I've been following this for 2 days, so you can see right there. Now, SEPTA service cuts are just 5 days away. Today, riders and labor leaders will hold a rally to call on state senators to pass funding for SEPTA.
And that'll be at Senator Joe Picozzi's office in Northeast Philadelphia. A protest was held there yesterday.
No cuts, no way. We ride SEPTA every day. No.
State Senator Picozzi has been at the center of a lot of pressure to get funding passed because he's in an unusual situation here. He's a Republican from Philadelphia. That makes his voice potentially powerful in the Republican-controlled Senate. Protesters argue riders and the state's economy depend on SEPTA. Now, Picozzi released a statement saying, quote, "I respect the right of people to make their voices heard, but disrupting our ability to serve the community is not the way to achieve progress. My focus remains delivering a solution that ensures safe, reliable SEPTA service with real accountability and transparency," end quote.
Now, the SEPTA funding crisis could also impact Amtrak service. SEPTA pays to operate 5 regional rail lines on the Amtrak-owned Northeast Corridor, including the Keystone service line between Philly and Harrisburg. SEPTA says it'll cut those lines in January if there's no new funding. If that happens, Congressman Brendan Boyle says Amtrak's president told him the railroad could lose more than $70 million, and Amtrak would then need to cut the Keystone service line.
Happening today, neighbors in Northeast Philadelphia will take their concerns about a nearby high school to lawmakers. They're challenging the district's effort To relieve overcrowding at Lincoln High, the school district wants to put trailers on campus. They'd be used as classrooms for 900 students. Neighbors have concerns about safety and parking and curb appeal. A hearing today will determine if the district can keep those trailers.
It's move-in day for incoming freshmen at Temple and Penn. Students will start moving in at 9 a.m. in North Philly. Temple is welcoming more than 6,000 freshmen and transfer students this year. Nearly a quarter of them are from Philadelphia. And over in University City, Penn students will start moving into their dorms at 11 a.m. More than 2,000 students are a part of Penn's incoming class, with 155 of them coming from Philadelphia. Now, the first day of school is right around the corner, and unfortunately, so are your child's heavy backpacks.
Yeah, they can cause serious head, back, and shoulder pain. I talked to a local surgeon about the do's and the don'ts when it comes to how to pack those book bags.
Brand new flattened backpacks, soon to be overinflated, begging the question,
is they really using all of these books that's making they, so heavy?
Mardia Powell has 4 kids. We found her picking up free book bags outside St. Christopher's Hospital. She's worried about her 9-year-old daughter's back problems.
I had to take a lot of stuff out that bag. I said, girl, you ain't doing nothing with this stuff.
Inside the hospital, we found another mom.
This advice?
Not at all. Although they should.
Because Dr. Allison Gattuso is a pediatric orthopedic surgeon. So when is a backpack too heavy?
A good rule of thumb is 10% of the child's body weight. So if they're a 60-pound child, 6 pounds. If they're 100 pounds, 10 pounds.
She says it shouldn't fall below the waistline and should be the size of your child's torso. Parents should start worrying if their child has
back pain every day, waking them up from sleep, weight loss they haven't been trying to lose, just overall too many complaints. They should definitely be evaluated by a pediatric orthopedist who can take x-rays and assess them for what they may need.
That's why Mardia is keeping a keen eye.
Kids be having back problems nowadays. You gotta be mindful.
Hey, for real, right? If your child's got to pack those heavy items, Dr. Gattuso told me to make sure they're packed closest to the body, right? So not all the way on the end, so they're falling backwards. And then the big misnomer here is backpacks don't cause scoliosis.
Interesting.
Apparently, it's one of the most common questions from parents. Scoliosis is often genetic.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yes. This is funny you did a story on this because I feel like people don't talk about it a lot.
Yeah.
When I was little, I was a runt. I was a little pipsqueak. I was very undersized for my age. And like in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, sometimes the backpack would be literally half my body weight.
Of course.
So my mom would have to get notes from the doctor, and we'd keep textbooks at home.
Yeah.
But a lot of times these schools don't have enough textbooks for that, which is, so the whole thing, this is a cool story that you've shown a light on, and a lot of a big concern for parents and these little kids.
A lot of Philly schools, they don't do this, but in the county, you'll find they have books for home and books for school.
That's so smart.
And because of laptops and iPads, the backpacks are a little lighter than they were when we were growing up.
That's interesting, too.
And so your mom wrote a note. My mom bought me a rolling backpack. So I was that kid with a rolling backpack through like middle school and some of high school.
Oh, no.
Can you believe it? I know you can believe it, actually.
I can kind of picture it, like little baby Keith rolling along down the hallway.
No, not baby Keith. I mean, I was like 10 to
Teenager
15 years old, probably.
But it probably helped you out. It's great. Yes, that's hilarious. Wow. Very good story, Keith. I like that. That was very interesting. Very interesting all over.
Hey, by the way, police are warning about another back-to-school tradition that they're seeing.
So you've seen those first day of school pictures on social media with kids holding up signs. Sometimes they include the child's name and teacher. According to investigators, predators could actually use that information to track down where your child lives or goes to school. So police say don't put the child's name on those signs. If you do, just use their initials. Don't write the school name. And if you want their face in the photo, use an emoji or blurring to cover them up.
The first thing I would do is don't put the child's name on there. If you do put the child's name on there, only maybe their initials. The second thing I would tell you to do is not put the school, because they can figure out what school, what area that child is walking.
If you want their faces in the picture, use an emoji or a sticker.
That's very interesting. Police say it's not about skipping the tradition, it's about doing it safely.
Yeah, yep.
Really important point, especially this time of year. You see that more and more.
Yeah, you never know who's consuming the stuff we put out there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We're aware of that.
Yeah. Well, Labubu dolls are popular toys, but now officials are worried about knockoffs that could be dangerous.
Yeah, the Consumer Product Safety Commission, they says the fake Labubus right here, they're small enough that they could fit inside a child's mouth, block their airway, and officials say they've received reports of knockoffs that easily break apart. They can create small pieces, and that becomes then a choking hazard.
Put
you gotta
down
be
the
mindful.
Lafufu.
Right,
That's what we call the fake ones. The Lafufus. Yes, that's what they're called.
It's a great saying, too. Hey, we're getting a first look, too, by the way, at a hospital in the Temple Health Network focusing on childbirth and maternal care.
Yes, so the new Temple Women and Families Hospital is in North Philadelphia. Temple Health is relocating its maternity labor and delivery services to this facility. Nearly 400 people will work here. Hospital leaders say it's the only one in our area exclusively dedicated to mothers and babies. Labor and delivery emergencies will still be handled at the main campus. The new facility opens on September 3rd.
There you go.
Now, do you want some beer with that soup, Keith?
What a transition, Chills. Camden-based company Campbell's is releasing 2 new beer-flavored chunky soups.
Tell me more.
They're working with Pabst Blue Ribbon to create the flavors like cheese with potatoes and chorizo, along with beef bacon and beer chili with beans. Boy, I couldn't have butchered that anymore. The limited edition soups will be available only at Walmart beginning September 3rd. If that's your thing.
All right.
Add some beer to it.
You know what? I could probably, this is going to sound snobby. I don't mean it to. Condensed soups kind of freak me out a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
But like I eat the Lipton powdered nothing. So like it's not snobby. The texture weird. But the flavor sounds probably nice. I love a beer cheese dip.
Sure.
With the pretzel.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
You know?
Okay, you know what?
So I can get down. Or like you can, I feel like my dad will do like beer and make
battered,
like a pot
something.
roast
Yeah,
or,
there you go.
So this, all right.
Not bad.
Love a little PBR moment.
All right.
Well, that does it for today's edition of The Lineup.
For the one and only Sheila Watko, I'm Keith Jones. You can get NBC 10 News updates right here on the NBC 10 app. You can catch us weekday mornings from 5 to 7 a.m. Have a great day.
Cheers.